Good morning, and of course, welcome back to another episode of X Talking Ish, which your boy X, and unfortunately, no Ish this morning, but it's all good. We're going to go ahead and preview week 13 of the NFL season. As always, if you are on Facebook, please make sure you like and share this broadcast. If you are on YouTube, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button and notification bell so you can be notified for shows like this one in the future. And as well, if you are on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, go ahead and check us out on there. I'm about to go ahead and retweet everything on my personal page as well at X_Williams81. I went ahead and did that. So, of course, we can get this party started. Week 13 pre-game show. I am not going to drag this out too long. I know y'all want to, of course, enjoy y'all's Sunday morning. I have my kids still laying down in the bed at the moment. So, if I do have to step away, I might have to go and grab one of them kids if they wake up. So, just give you a heads up on that. Anyways, let's go ahead and get right into the first game, Chargers versus Patriots. Now, this is an interesting matchup for me because the Chargers are not where they need to be, especially with this season, and the Patriots are just so far gone on where they thought they were going to be this season that they are pretty much throwing in the towel, especially starting Bailey Zappi at the quarterback position and benching Matt Jones once again. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Look, if the Chargers don't win this game, Brandon Staley needs to go ahead and just stay in New England. And they need to just keep him in New England the same way last year when they lost the playoff game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, lost that big lead in the postseason. I said the Chargers needed to leave Brandon Staley in Jacksonville and do not let him come back on that team plane back to LA. This is the same instance right here. If the Chargers lose this game, the Chargers need to go ahead and fire Brandon Staley. I know the season is pretty much almost over, especially if the Chargers lose this game, the season to me, I think, is pretty much over at this point. The AFC is just too tough to where they are not going to grab a wild card spot, and to lose to a two-win Patriot team, that pretty much proves everybody's point when it comes to how we view the Chargers this season on not being a playoff caliber team. So, with that being said, Chargers are a 5.5 point road favorite. Should take care of this game pretty handily, especially playing against a second string quarterback. But knowing the Chargers, they'll find some way to mess it up per usual. All right, let's go ahead and get right into the Cardinals versus Steelers. Steelers are riding off of their multi-game winning streak at the moment and continue to play great football at the right time. Not even going to try to make this a spectacle and try to say, hey, the Cardinals can find a way to win this game and this, that, and third. Not really so much. The Steelers defense is playing Steeler football, and that's something that, as a Steelers supporter, that's what you want at this point in time in the season. Playing well. Also, I think the running game is kind of getting to where it should be, especially with the changes at the offensive coordinator position, of course, and also look out for Jaylen Warren as well too, when it comes to the way that he's able to change pace as a running back, switching over from Najee Harris to Jaylen Warren. Ironically, Najee Harris might be built to be the prototypical running back for the Steelers, but when it comes to productivity, Jaylen Warren is the guy that's been getting it done for Pittsburgh. So be interesting to see how they utilize those two guys. Hopefully, see more two-back sets for those guys so they can get more opportunities in that offense. But for the most part, playing at home, playing against a Cardinals team who, for the most part of the season, played really well when it comes to competitive football wise, but just haven't gotten the result that they won in game in and game out, which is the W. I think the same thing happens here. I think it's going to be a competitive game on both sides. Wouldn't surprise me at all if this is a very low scoring game. Probably both teams scoring under 20, which is per usual for the Steelers, but for the Cardinals, I think because they're playing that Steelers defense, I think they are also held to under 20 points. So if you are a betting person out there, go ahead and take that under for that game. Let's go ahead and move on to the Colts and the Titans game. Now, even though the Colts are a 1 point road favorite coming into Nashville, um, think Titans have a great opportunity to pull off the upset, quote unquote, the upset here in Nashville because, again, with the point margin so small, I don't really consider it being an upset if the Titans win. Both teams, again, if we're being honest with you, probably not in a position that they thought they would be. Obviously, the Colts not being able to play Anthony Richardson this deep into the season due to injury and playing with Gardner Minshew at the moment, who is a serviceable backup quarterback, but not the guy that you would want at this point. And again, no disrespect to Gardner Minshew. It's just when you get first round talent, you want that guy to be your future quarterback moving forward. You want him to be on the field. So Gardner Minshew has been able to carry the workload for the most part. One thing about Gardner, he's going to sling that rock. He's going to get the ball out, and he's going to make play. He's going to make sure that the guys, our receivers, or running back wise, are going to get the ball to be able to make plays. So Gardner Minshew doesn't have to run around back there and think that he's a low budget version of Baker Mayfield. That's just kind of how I see Gardner Minshew. But anywho, I was going to actually pick the Titans to win this game, but I wanted to do a little bit of reverse psychology on myself. And what I mean by that is last week I did pick for the Tennessee Titans to lose the game, but this week I want to go ahead and use that same reverse psychology to see if they lose the game. I'm sorry, if I pick them to lose the game, do they end up winning the game? So again, a little reverse psychology. Let me see if that plays out again today. I have no problems taking my L when it comes to pick'ems as long as Tennessee Titans take that W. But being honest with you, though, it doesn't matter if they win this game or not. I just think the season for them is just too far gone, especially within the division, especially where the Texans have been playing, especially where the Texans' schedule lines up for them moving forward. It's just that much more beneficial for the Texans or the Colts to win the division. And but honestly, by a miracle, I mean, I don't really see the Titans finding a way to get into the playoffs. I mean, especially playing Will Levis, and no disrespect to Will Levis. I mean, he's the emergency quarterback. Really wasn't expecting to see too much time this year, but hey, here we are thrown into the fire, and now you got to play when your name's called upon. So I think Will Levis has done a decent job so far playing. I don't think I can really judge him so far for this season on how he's played when it comes to if he's the franchise guy. I think he can be a guy. Right now, I just don't know if he could be the guy. I got to see more and just more consistency from Will Levis, and we'll see. I'm not really the biggest Will Levis fan, but hey, maybe one day he can turn me around. So we'll see on that. All right, Broncos versus Texans. I think this is an interesting matchup because of the history that the Broncos and the Texans actually have with one another. Obviously, the Texans are a baby franchise per se, been around a little over 20 years now. Texans fans will use that as an excuse on why they're not successful, but that's not an excuse anymore because you have teams like the Panthers and the Jaguars who became an organization just 5+ years before you guys, and they've been able to make playoffs, of course, Super Bowls from the Panthers, and also conference championship game appearances from the Jaguars. So for the Texans, you have an ability to be able to now change the course of your history with the new additions that you have, especially at the quarterback position with C.J. Stroud, and also, of course, the other young members on both sides of the ball. And of course, starting off with guys like Tank Dell and Nico Collins. The offense for C.J. Stroud has definitely been pulling its weight. The Broncos, they are coming in to this game on a 5-game winning streak, playing a lot better than they were in the beginning of the season. And like I've stated time and time again, and we're going to see this every year. We see it every year. A team that starts off hot in the beginning of the season, most of the time usually flames out in the second half of the season. And then we see vice versa. We see a team like the Broncos, first half of the season, it was like a marriage, right? It was a marriage that was trying to work and trying to figure things out. There was a lot of speculation of maybe, it's not working with Russ and it's not working with Sean Payton. And, these guys need to, go ahead and move on. Broncos need to find somebody else, on both sides when it comes to the coach and the quarterback. But credit to both of these leaders. I will call both of them, guys leaders. Again, I know everybody probably feels some way about Sean Payton, the way he left New Orleans, and people feel a certain way about Russell Wilson when it comes to either how he is as a football player, what he does off the field, whatever it is. Of course, there's always going to be some say on how people view Russ. So with that being said, the way I'm looking at this game, yes, I do believe the Texans can win this game. I really do. But the Texans, I think they are trending in the right direction. But because they are so young, I think that they find a way to lose a game like this that they actually probably have an opportunity of winning. And I know that sounds crazy what's coming out of my mouth, but I think because of the experience of a guy like Russ and also Sean Payton, they're going to come into this game with a game plan that's going to allow them to be successful. And again, no knock to CJ Stroud, no knock to DeMeco Ryans at all. I just think that their time is coming, right? It's not here yet, but it's coming. And for the Broncos, they are trending upward in the right time. And I think they find a way to pull off the road upset here in Houston against the Texans. Again, Texans are a 3-point favorite. And if you are a betting man and if you want to take the Broncos straight out, I think you can find a way to win a couple of dollars here in this Houston game. Looks like my boy Big X says, throws up that X. I'm hoping that's for me, hoping the X is for me. I don't know if he's saying X because he doesn't like my picks. Either way, we're going to throw the X up as well. So we appreciate you for joining in once again for Week 13 pregame show. You heard my picks for the Broncos-Texans game. We got the Broncos in that one. Let's go ahead and move on to the Lions and the Saints now. Not even going to entertain this game at all. Not even going to act like, oh, the Saints have a chance. Oh, the Saints this, the Saints that. The Saints have disappointed me all season long. Okay? I'm tired of this up and down, mediocre. What can you get from a Klein Bar looking ass team? Because this team, anytime that I expect them to do what they need to do, they wet the bed. And then you expect them to, they're just going to play like crap. And they end up playing a pretty good game, and they end up beating a team they ain't supposed to beat. Well, not this game, okay? I know it's in New Orleans. Shout out, speaking of New Orleans, shout out to my father. My father's actually in New Orleans right now going to this game. So I hope he enjoys himself in New Orleans watching this Lions and Saints game. I'm pretty sure the Lions are going to be able to pull off this game here in New Orleans because this is not the Saints of old. This is not, obviously, like I just said before, Sean Payton. This is not Sean Payton's Saints. And no disrespect to Saints, fan bases, but I don't think, and I'm just talking about this season alone, I don't think people fear y'all the way, especially in New Orleans. I don't think anybody fear y'all the way that teams used to, playing in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, whatever they want to call it, because they keep changing the name every 3 years. I just don't think it has the same type of, in the words of my wife, because she knows that I love using this word, even though I'm not using it correctly, the je ne sais quoi. It's missing the je ne sais quoi of just the feel of New Orleans. And I understand what it is. It's obviously because they're losing, but they need to get it back. I hear a lot of rumblings, especially from the fan base. Everybody doesn't like Dennis Allen too much. A lot of people want to move on from him. But my question to Saints fans is, of course, if you move on from Dennis Allen, which is understandable, who are you going to replace with them? Replace him for, I should say. Obviously there are some names that are going to be coming out. Obviously we got some college coaches. We've got to figure out, what happens with them if they decide to make that leap into the NFL. But as I say all the time, grass isn't always green on the other side. And for the Saints, they have, of course, pieces here and there, but they're wasting their time with a top 10 defense with this dysfunctional offense that should be firing on all cylinders, but it's just not. When Kamara came back from his suspension, I remember I think he had 8 catches, 8 to 10 catches that first game when he came back. And after that, it just seems like they just don't utilize him the way that they should and the way that they have previously. him at the running back position. So for me, I'm just looking at the Saints offense like, when are y'all going to get together? Michael Thomas, of course, still Michael Thomas. It's either he's running a slant or he's hurt and out for the rest of the season. Olave, plays well, but then of course he's been banged up throughout the season as well too. So, and then obviously the biggest elephant in the room, the Derek Carr situation. You brought him over hoping to maybe have a new fresh start in New Orleans and play better, and he just really has not been doing that. Seems as though same old Carr, and if that's the case, the Saints might be stuck back where they were before they got Derek Carr, and that's what they were hoping not to be in. So, another team, once again, have a lot of questions to answer in the offseason. Oh, another question I might need to throw out to my Saints fans and whatnot is this upcoming season, is this a year where we need to look into the draft for a quarterback as well, too? A lot of quarterbacks should be coming out this season. And if I'm the Saints, like, maybe you buy out Derek Carr's contract and, let him go and do something else and just say, hey, we're going to go. Or, on my apologies, not even just buy him out. Let him play, of course, his contract, but draft his replacement and, of course, get him ready for another year or two because, as we always see in the NFL, quarterback is going to get hurt. So if you do obviously have that guy that knows the system like Taysom Hill, which, again, I don't know why you have a quarterback / running back / wide receiver / offensive lineman / defensive lineman / punt returner / kick returner / you know what I'm saying. My point is that if you're not going to utilize him, then you might as well get a real quarterback that's going to come in and replace Derek Carr once it's his time to move on. Dominique Powell says, yeah, Saints dropped the ball real big this year. I thought they was going to dominate the division this year. Yes, Dominique, you and me both. I thought the exact same thing. Has not happened this year and most likely will not happen. So, interesting turn of events, and that's why they play the game, and we do not play the game on paper. Let's go ahead and move on to Falcons Jets. This is a game that pretty sure a lot of people do not want to see on paper or even in the actual game itself. But when it comes to games like this, the games that we just don't really care for, the games that we think that are going to be poo cheese, ends up usually sometimes being the game of the week for whatever reason. And the Falcons, they're playing for something because obviously they have an opportunity to still win the division with playing as trash as they've been playing this past season. The Jets, for the most part, their season is pretty much done. So the Jets, if they want to, they can kind of play spoil, especially being at home, playing for a little bit of pride, playing for the state of New York. But the Falcons should take care of business in New York, and especially because of the Jets quarterback situation. Tim Boyle, he played well last week. I was very surprised that they allowed him to throw the ball as many times as that he did last week, but seems like the Jets have enough confidence in him to be able to sling that rock around. I expect more of the same from the Jets, a little bit more balanced, but I expect him to be able to throw the ball at least 30 times in that game. But for the Falcons overall, I mean, you have a better team, which not really saying too much, but you should be able to put up a couple more points on the board besides the Jets, who can barely score 2 touchdowns in one game. So that's just my take on that one. Dolphins and Commanders. Unfortunately, like Ish and I spoke about on this show, Ron Rivera is just I want to say a dead man walking, but he knows that his time in Washington is about to come to an end. And it's unfortunate because he's one of course, the very few minority coaches out there in the NFL. And if people have a problem with people bringing up the number of minority candidates in the NFL, then hey, I'm just saying it is what it is. It's pretty glaring when it comes to the amount of head coaches that are not of Caucasian descent that are the head coaches. And for Ron Rivera, most likely he will not be there after this season. So, of course, another minority coach that's coaching against the Commanders, Mr. Mike McDaniel, who I know a lot of people will probably raise some eyebrows and say, how's he minority? Hey, he's a minority. So with that being said, we'll see how that all plays out for the Commanders moving forward, what direction they go. Do they promote Eric Bieniemy? Does he get an opportunity to become a head coach? Do they go, of course, look on the outside and maybe, again, bring in a guy like maybe a Jim Harbaugh or whoever from college? Again, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But for today, let's worry about what's going on in DC and take care of the business like the Dolphins will do. And I think they will win this game pretty handily by at least 10 points. I think the Commanders are ready for the season to be over with, to get ready for next season, especially with that new ownership group. It just seems as though that they are, I want to say clearinghouse, but they're in the position to make this organization their own. So Ron Rivera, unfortunately, you're going to have to see that pink slip, and we'll see you. We'll see you somewhere, maybe as a coordinator next year, or just retire in general, and maybe that's it for Ron Rivera. Again, we'll see how that happens, plays out there. Panthers and the Buccaneers, divisional matchup between one team that's okay and another team that's just really, 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 really bad. The Panthers, and like I spoke about the game previously with the Falcons and the Jets, Panthers really have nothing to play for because they actually could be out of playoff contention with a loss today, but they definitely could play spoil to the Buccaneers and them trying to win the division. So I expect the Panthers to come out and play hard. Question is will it be good enough to actually upset the Bucs in Tampa? I don't think so. I think Tampa finds a way to win this game. I think Mike Evans has a Mike Evans type of game to let people know that he's still that guy. I think he's only, I want to say 105 yards away from another 1,000-yard season. That in itself, especially with the Super Bowl ring that he received just a couple years ago with Brady, he's a walking Hall of Famer. I mean, I've seen people talk about how he shouldn't be a Hall of Famer, or he shouldn't be as good of a wide receiver because of his height, which is honestly laughable and downright disrespectful when it comes to the amount of consistency, productivity, and efficiency that he puts on an everyday basis. He is literally the best wide receiver to come out of Tampa, better than Keyshawn Johnson, better than Joey Galloway, better than who else you want to throw out there, Vincent Jackson. It don't matter. You go look at the record books. Mike Evans' name is going to be in every last one of them when it comes to receiving stats for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That alone is going to get him in the Hall of Fame. So with that being said, I think this is his year. Last year with Tampa, I think he moves on. And I know I'm going to sound crazy saying this because I think this really could happen. I think he ends his career as a Houston Texan, coming back to Houston and his Houston quote unquote area. Obviously, he's from Galveston. I think he played maybe his last 2 years in Houston. He can be a great veteran presence for a young receiving core for the guys like Nico Collins, Tank Dell, to help them learn and develop and get better as wide receivers. Also, as well, help the culture of the Houston Texans, being able to bring that professional mindset and also Super Bowl knowledge to Houston. Wouldn't surprise me at all as well, too, if another person that's pretty close with Mike Evans, and I'm not going to throw his name out there, decides to come to Houston as well, too, to join that defense. And again, I'm not going to throw any names out there, not going to throw no speculations, but I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Houston Texans become a little bit more of a favorable destination spot than in years past because of the way that the Houston Texans are revamping themselves. All right, let's go ahead and move on to game of the week, game of the year, game of the whatever you want to call it, the most anticipated game probably so far of the NFL season. Of course, this was the game from last year where the Eagles knocked out Brock Purdy and 49ers said would have, could have, should have. You know, you guys wouldn't have beat us if Brock Purdy was still there. And guess what? That doesn't matter anymore. And also, I'll say this before the game even starts. This game really doesn't matter either because let's just say the 49ers come back and win this game, right? 49ers win this game, and they say, see, I told you we would win this game with Brock Purdy. Okay, that's fine. Let's say they meet up again in the postseason. Let's say the Eagles knock out Brock Purdy once again, right? And the Eagles end up winning the game. Guess what? The Eagles won when it really mattered. And also, I know this sucks, but injuries are a part of the game. And those guys that are second or third string guys, when it's your number to be called up and it's time to play, you got to step up. And again, I know this sounds, oh, that's not fair. You know, I want everybody to be 100% healthy. That shit, I want $1 million drop out of the sky and drop on my face. But here we are. So with that being said, you got to play with what you have. And if the 49ers lost Brock either today or in the playoffs, you got to play with what you have, right? Last time I checked, the 49ers didn't have no issues going from Jimmy G to either Trey Lance or now to Brock Purdy. When Brock Purdy is playing well, yeah, I had no problem with him playing well and not losing the game. Now all of a sudden you lose the game, and all of a sudden it's, oh, well, you know, well, maybe if we would have had this, that, and third. Okay. If the Eagles lose Jalen Hurts, Marcus Mariota come in. Hey, Marcus Mariota, better step your ass up. I don't care. You on an active roster, better step your ass up and play. You know, we too late in the season. We too late in the game right now for all these damn excuses from everybody. And it's easy for everybody to throw stones at me and say, oh, you're a Titans fan. You're a Titans fan, so y'all ain't going to ever win anything. Okay. That shit don't hurt me. My facts telling y'all about how football goes is never going to hurt me. If anything, it hurts y'all feelings because I'm telling y'all how it is, because that's football, from Little League football all the way up to professional football. When it comes to next man up, you're going to hit that in every level of football that you play. So how about both sides of the ball, or both teams, I should say, develop your backups and your backups to make sure that they are ready to play when it's their name called, when anytime adversity hits and you have a starting quarterback go down, or Deebo Samuel go down, or George Kittle, or whoever it is that goes down, the next person better step up. So with my long soliloquy, I'm going to end it with, because the Eagles are at home. That's the main reason why I'm taking the Eagles at home, because of that home cooking. This is in San Fran. Might have to go with the 49ers. But because the Eagles are at home, I think the Eagles take care of business. And I think this might be part one of two for this matchup that we might be able to run back again in the postseason. So I'm hoping we're able to get a part two. But I think for this Sunday, we have the Eagles taking this game from the 49ers. But that doesn't mean count the 49ers out at all. 49ers are always going to be there. So keep a lookout for them. All right, Browns and Rams, I should say. This game is weird because, of course, Deshaun Watson isn't. Deshaun Watson will not be playing anymore the rest of the season. Obviously, out for their shoulder injury, and the Rams have been just up and down. Just haven't really been the Rams of past when obviously we won a Super Bowl. So, with that being said, the Rams are playing better. They're getting better. They're playing better football at this point. I just think the Browns defense alone is going to be such a great impact into this game that is going to limit the Rams' offensive success. And I think if the Browns are just able, and I'm talking about offensive side of the ball, if they're able to protect the ball, run the ball, control the clock, I think the Browns are able to get into LA and get out of LA with a dub. I'm very surprised by this line here. Yes, I do see the Rams are favored by 4 points, but again, I'm just not really too big of a believer in the Rams, and the Rams really just haven't been playing consistent football for me to believe that they can win this game by 4 points. But like I said, the only drawback for the Browns really is the offensive side of the ball. Can y'all put up enough points to be able to, and also my apologies, capitalize on the opportunity that the Browns defense give you, because the Browns defense should put the Browns offense in a great position to be successful on the field after their defensive performance. Hopefully should also cause some turnovers as well. So if the Browns' offense can't capitalize, then that might make this game a lot more difficult for them to win this game. But I have the Browns winning this game. Like I said, if you're a betting person, go ahead and take those points and get you, nice little bang for your buck on that one. All right, Chiefs, Packers. Yay, another primetime game for the Chiefs. Why not, of course, because they're only on primetime like 12 times out of the year. So anywho, Chiefs, Packers. I ain't gonna spend too much time on this. Jordan Love has been playing well, but just not well enough. This isn't really gonna be a good game. This game might be over with by the third quarter. I'm just being honest with y'all. If you are somebody that likes suspense, this isn't the game to watch. If I were you, go ahead and just watch, something you got on Hulu or Netflix or whatever it is, because might be another one of them snooze fest of a primetime games. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. Yeah, I'm not even gonna really jump into this game too much because Chiefs fans, y'all on here, y'all listen. My boy Lee, I know you on here listening. Take care of business. You're a Super Bowl potential type of team. Take care of business. You are on the road, but the Packers are not who they once were. They're not even who they were in the beginning of the season. So again, take care of business, and you'll be fine and good to go in there. All right, before we get on out of here, though, let's go ahead and wrap it up with if I was a betting man. And of course, as always, you can use our prize pick promo code PR-JVA61PN. You use that promo code, you will get 25 free dollars to be able to use on prize picks. And I think it's a really good deal. Go ahead and use that promo code, get you some $25, and you can use those dollars to win you some more dollars. So for mine, I have a 4-manner at the moment. I do have a couple other six-man projections out here. I might throw them out there on my social media pages, but for the most part, this 4-man I think definitely could bring you guys back some dollars. You put $5 down, you can get 50 on this one. Got CJ Stroud throwing for over 270 and a half. I got David Njoku for over 4.5 catches, and I have Nico Collins over 4.5 catches, and as well as Jaylen Warren. Even though I did say yes earlier that he is a factor in these games, I think he can rush for 100 yards and only touch the ball like 8 to 10 times. I don't think he needs 12 plus rushing attempts to be able to achieve that. He's proven that in the past already. I think because of the two-back set and also because of Najee Harris, probably Najee Harris has a bigger game than Warren. I think more rushing attempts will be given to Najee over Warren for just this week. So for today, like I said, we got CJ Stroud, David Njoku, Nico Collins, Jaylen Warren. Go ahead and make you guys some money over there on you guys then. I appreciate y'all as always for tuning in to XTalknIsh for the week 13 pregame show. Join us on Tuesday for the week 13 recap show so we can talk all about these games. And of course, we'll recap all the Cowboys fun, all the Chiefs fun, all the Bengals and Jags and the Browns and the Rams and the Texans and the Cowboys and all that fun stuff. Yes, I said Cowboys twice once again. So as always, like I said, tune in on Tuesday. We will see you guys then. Thank y'all once again. See you next.